Ryan, have you ever thought about being an architect?
Have you ever thought about being a truck driver?
Have you ever thought about being a salesperson?
What about something in the medical field?
Realtor? Listen to Career Paths every Thursday
Wherever you listen to podcasts,
and on YouTube. You might learn something.
you might not.
It's your life. Make it happen.
Memories fading, we all forget those not so shiny things you do.
Career Paths. Is this thing on?
It is now.
Oh, no.
Oh, that thing?
I know, right? Hey, Ryan. Let me know when you're ready. Hey. This is Rob, by the way, Rob.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I grew up, his family, yeah, we didn't realize how, we have history. Sometimes realizing the history that we have is, and then you and I have history, other history.
Right.
The rock and roll history, the club history. Because you were
Sure.
bartending back then.
Yeah.
See? What was it called? What was the bar in Rathdrum that like?
The Mill Creek Inn.
Yes, the Mill Creek. God.
Yeah.
You know, I reconnected with Dean a year or two ago.
Oh, good.
He was in town because he lost his folks. He had to go through stuff up in the Sandpoint area or Priest River, and he was in town, and I actually reached out to him. We got together, we had breakfast together, and
Oh, nice.
I got him some. I got him a DVD with some video on it
Right
from
on.
way back. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd inquired, I forget, to someone in the circle not too long ago, mutual friends, about him, and they said he was doing good, but they hadn't seen him in a while.
We're friends on Facebook.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we'll hit that. We'll touch about that. All this is on YouTube because this is the unedited, right? Right.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
Brian's just going whatever.
You can put unedited stuff on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we're unedited. We're on
People
Spotify.
don't realize that, I don't think.
We're on
The stuff they
iHeart.
put on there, it's like you could have edited that because it wasn't very good. But
Right. Well, there's that side of it.
Ready? Welcome to Career Paths. I'm Victor Boudreau with Mr. Ryan King. Hey Ryan,
hey,
how you doing over there?
good. How are you?
Our guest today is Mr. Rob Bradbury, right? Mr. Rob Bradbury.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
Not Ray.
Bradbury. Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Actually, last time I saw you was at the casino. You were going to a concert. I was getting ready to fly out to Phoenix.
Right.
So, and then, what show you were going to see? A country show. Who was that guy? You don't
No,
remember?
it was blues. It was Kenny Wynn Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same thing, blues.
Yeah, no.
So,
And, well, no.
how was the show?
Oh, it's fantastic.
I could have gone after the
Kid's
fact.
incredible.
Is he? A younger guy?
Well, he started when he was 16, but he's basically as old as us.
Or an old guy like us now?
Yeah.
Oh. How are you doing these days?
Oh, good.
You're looking good. Looking good.
Good, thanks.
Getting a beard and mustache on you? I'm not used to the whole gray.
Well,
We all are getting grayer,
yeah.
but that's
No, I've had the mustache for a while through
Yeah.
the winter, but had a hernia repaired last week.
And you're moving around pretty well. I had one years ago, and I remember after I had hurt for like a week.
Oh yeah, it still hurts, but it's a lot different now because like when you had it done, it was probably more like a male cesarean section where they
just
slice right through and sew
Yeah.
you back up. Now they just poke a couple holes in your tummy and put a robot in there and
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was up and about literally the next day,
Wow.
but you're not,
Yeah, but
you're
still
not back.
But
to
it was like a
normal.
week. I was a
Yeah,
week, and
It's been a week.
you'd cough or sneeze, and it hurt like hell.
Still that. but
Okay.
Not so much healing, just inside.
Yeah. So background, age, you're old.
50. I just turned 56. At
Happy
the beginning
birthday.
of the year. Well, I mean at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, sure.
And you're married.
Yes.
Because how long have you been married now? Because I was at your wedding reception.
Right. You
'Cause
were the
played-
drummer.
I was a drummer at your wedding reception. That was a good time. I enjoyed that. That's one of the I've been at a lot of weddings or wedding receptions, and I remember that was nice.
That was
Outdoor
fun.
and
A lot of fun memories. I mean, we still remember that every
every
week.
year.
Yeah.
How long you guys been married now?
11. It'll be
Jeez.
12. No, it'll be 12 years. July 31st will be 12 years, and then we've been together 15 years
Right.
this year. But
I don't care about how long. I just wanted how long you've been
Right.
married, so I can. 12 years since we did
Right.
that, huh? No kids.
You know, I mean, just thinking about the wedding drummer thing. Do you know what? I'm sure you've heard this. Do you know how you get a drummer to go away? It's knocking on your door.
I've heard the joke, but
Oh.
keep going.
Paying for the pizza.
Yeah. You know what you call a drummer in a three-piece suit? A defendant.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You're welcome. Come on, I got him.
That's good.
You want more? How can you tell that the stage is level? Drool's coming out of both sides of the drummer's mouth.
Okay, that's one I had not heard.
Yeah,
Right, that's
oh,
good.
I got them all. I got them all.
That's good.
Brian, you want?
I don't remember most of them, but that I used to know for drummers. But
So
my boss,
But I got
since
them
we're
for
talking
years,
about
so.
work, I guess my boss asked me, how come I only get sick on work days, and I said it's because of my weekend immune system.
put it up.
Anywho,
gonna use that one later.
Hey, you're up, Brian. You're up.
How am I up? We don't even know what he does yet.
oh, that's right.
Uh oh.
Yeah.
Rob, what do you do? What do you do for a living? What's your career that you've been? You've been a computer guy for years.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say, generically, it's software support,
Generically, software. But what's your
which I've
official?
done for various softwares and various companies for 20 some years. But the last 6 years is for a company called Asset Works, and they make fleet management software. So all of your big cities and municipalities and Vistas and things like that, all their vehicles use our software in their shops to maintain their vehicles and do the preventive maintenance and the fueling and the GPS and all that.
Yeah. Track you and follow you and follow you and track you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all your fuel and parts.
All right.
So how did you become interested in that?
Oh, the computers or this job?
A little of both,
Oh.
actually. Really.
Well, I was always fascinated with computers when I was young, and had a I don't know if you remember the old Commodore VIC 20, or Vic, wasn't it VIC 20?
I know of it.
Yeah.
I know of it because it had Vic in it.
Yeah. And anyway, it was just a little box that hooked up to your TV, and I was fascinated that you could type stuff into it and it would somehow interact with you, even though you had to make it interact, but
Right.
you could. And so that was cool. And then I spent hours and hours, nights and weekends, typing game programs from magazines into this computer
Really?
and saving them on a cassette tape, and then spending another days and days going back through and fixing all the mistakes, and then spending a couple more days seeing how it worked.
Really? See, I'm a gamer. I didn't know you did that.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't.
I mean, honestly, the last game I played regularly was Duke Nukem 3D in like 1992 or something.
Nice, but still.
But yeah. And then how I came into this job was truly just needing a job at the time. But I was, I've been doing support all these years, and there was an opportunity I met through a friend, and it was one of those deals where it was probably more knowing the friend that got me the job than actually my skills. But
One thing led to another.
yeah.
So was there anyone that inspired you for this type of work, or was it more just the computers themselves fascinated you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it was so new, when we were young, that there wasn't really. I mean, I was inspired by, science fiction guys like Ray Bradbury or Isaac Asimov or, all those writers. Reading books when I was a kid, probably.
Did you read that much? Yeah, this is one of the things that fascinates me. Because I learned about Rob and I. You and I go back years.
Quite a few
And right
years.
now I'm learning stuff about you I never knew. And that's pretty much a majority of my guests that are friends or acquaintances of mine. I get to learn more. Yeah,
That's
and I didn't know you were some of the stuff. So, we know the music end of it. We'll touch on that too. But
Oh, and that's changed a lot too.
yeah, but in general.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry to interrupt. But
No,
I just get to learn so much. So you science fiction. Did you read the books and everything back when you were a kid and everything?
Oh yeah, and all the movies, and that was then I was a pretty big Stephen King fan, which I'm not really anymore. But there's a couple books like The Stand. I don't know if you're familiar.
I've
with
heard
that
of
story.
it. I
But if
don't
you
know how to
read the
read.
original 1978 book version of that, it was just it wasn't like science fiction. It was like apocalyptic, futuristic, predictive programming.
Oh,
right?
okay.
But that all fell in with reading just, fiction stories by guys like Ray Bradbury that wrote the Martian Chronicles and
Okay.
I don't know what else now. But so those stories were being out, going into outer space or whatever.
Sure.
Those were always interesting.
Fascinating.
So, I got to say, when you said that, you've been in this line of work for 20 years, for that split second there, I was thinking, how? Then I'm like, oh, crap. It has been like over 20 years since computers have really been going.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
thinking, because you had mentioned the Commodore and stuff, it's like, I remember getting the Atari,
Right.
so it's like, how old am
The
I
video
now?
game, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 2600 that came out. I don't know what, late 80s maybe. I don't remember.
I think it was like mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had little computers, like what do you call it? Texas Instruments made a little, like a Commodore VIC-20, but it was really a tiny little thing with just a membrane keyboard that you had to just chiclet push on it, but it would hook to your TV and it would do basic program, basic language
Wow.
programming. And that was even before the VIC-20, but the VIC-20 was like the first one that you could. And you could also buy games already made for the VIC-20 and plug
Well, I
them
was
into the
gonna say,
back and do, do
What'd you-
Atari-like stuff. But
Give me a game off of that time.
it was rudimentary, like Lunar Lander. Like you have thrust keys and direction keys, and
Wow.
this thing would just fall to the ground. And you try to keep it from crashing.
Because I remember the Atari. My oldest brother had an Atari. I was like 81 or 82. I was at his house because he had moved out, and Asteroid
Oh yeah.
on that, and Tank Battle.
Yeah.
So it must have been Atari. Would that have been an
That was
Atari?
all Atari. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the Asteroids was Atari. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And Pong.
yeah.
that
Oh
was the original.
yeah.
That was
That's-
Atari.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember getting later, because Atari kept putting games out for quite a while,
Mm-hmm.
and had got Journey had put a video game out,
Yeah.
and I got it, and it's the beginning, of probably their most famous song.
Mhm.
That beginning, like 15 seconds, just on repeat, nonstop,
Through the
while
whole
you're basically shooting. I can't even remember what it was you're shooting. It was
That's funny.
kind of like.
They were trying to be the band with advanced with the computer gaming
Yeah.
and all that.
And I remember I, so excited. I got the game, put it in, played it for about 15 minutes, took it out, threw it off to the side, and I think I played it one other time for about 15 minutes. And I'm like, I can't stand it anymore. It's like, give me some other music in here. It's like,
That's funny.
So did you have training when you first started getting into this? Besides, what you did growing up and playing with computers, any other official, would you say, school training or online training, or because back then there wasn't online training per se. So
Yeah,
how did
not
you move
really
forward
online.
with your knowledge and information to do what you did? School or training or whatever.
Well, I lucked out in when I was a senior in high school because the math teacher at Lakeland there was into computers
Oh, okay.
big time, and he had
What was
been
his
into-
name? Do you remember his name?
Mr. Schmidt. I would believe it was his name. I don't remember his first. Lonnie.
That's
maybe?
right,
Lonnie?
Mr. Schmidt.
Lonnie Schmidt.
Back then, we always call our teachers by
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. So.
Yeah. I
half
think
my
Lonnie-
teachers, I never knew their first
Right.
name.
I think
Yeah.
Lonnie was actually
All
his
right,
first name.
Mr.
but
Schmidt.
Maybe I can't remember.
So
But,
shout out to Mr. Schmidt.
Yeah, sorry if I got your name wrong, but but he was into computers, and he had a VIC-20 actually, and he would bring it to his senior math class and teach them a little about writing little basic programs to
Really?
not only do math but just do funky
Whatever.
things. Yeah, and then when I was a junior, he knew I was interested, and I was in like. I can't remember. We knew each other from undergrad, a lower class math that he taught.
Sure.
and he invited me to come on one of my free periods to their senior class and sit in on that computer
Wow.
deal. So that was fun and very informative. And then I thought then I wanted to like maybe go to school for that. So I did enroll, right out of high school into NIC, North Idaho College.
Yes. Thank you.
AKA 13th grade. Right? and it was in a 2-year terminal degree, computer science business programming program. Right.
Okay.
But I literally did one semester of that and did pretty well because it was all about the basic language, which I already knew.
Right.
And it was a pretty complicated project at the end of the semester, which sounds super simple. You just had to write a program that you could input your information for a bank check, and it would print out the numbers that you put in words
Okay.
on the check.
Okay.
And that, that sounds easy, but it took months of making arrays of stuff in
Back
programs
then, yeah.
to make that happen. So
Wow.
throughout all that, I did okay on the project and probably had a B something average at the end of the first semester. But I knew that the terminal thing at the end of the 2 years was COBOL programming, which was I already owned what's called a K-Pro, which is like one of the first portable computers. It weighed about 40 pounds and it had 2 disk drives and a little monitor in it.
Okay.
And that right there that I already owned would do more than COBOL could ever do, no matter how good you were at programming it. So I knew I didn't want to spend the money and continue that program because it was going nowhere for me.
You've already advanced.
Well,
Or
I
you're
wasn't. I mean, I wasn't advanced. I just knew, number one, that project was really hard. I just worked on it and it should have been easy. So I don't want to be a programmer.
Right. Okay.
And then second, I
Didn't have
definitely
done that.
don't want to learn COBOL ever. And then so I just branched out and started working. And,
Okay. You branched out, started working with.
Well,
so let's back up.
I was probably still bartending then, right, when I was out of school.
Okay.
Sure.
So you were working your way into it for a full time or two, because you were bartending. I remember. Now I'm remembering several different places that you would do gigs, and you were the one that got us the gigs, obviously. Hey, let's get
Sometimes.
these. Well,
Yeah, there was a place in Coeur d'Alene, and then.
Yep. Like off of 4th.
Yeah, the watering hole, I think it was, wasn't it? Or,
I don't even remember now.
The Chinese guys in the basement.
Probably. I don't remember.
Anyway, yeah,
Been
it was
so
fun
long.
times. Fun times.
So real quick, when you were going to school back then, granted this was years ago, I'm not trying to dwell a bit, what would you say was the worst part of going to school back then at NIC, North Idaho College, and what was the best time? Because we've had other guests that went to North Idaho College, believe it or not.
Yeah, I imagine. No, I mean, it was a great time. In retrospect, I would just say that I like most kids of that age, I think I was probably pressured a little bit to continue on into school and not stop.
Right.
Because you never start again, right? That was the main thrust of that argument.
Sure.
But I wasn't really ready to knuckle down and be a student still. I wanted out of school.
Right.
So it was bad
away.
timing, and
Sure.
and then the way it played out, school wasn't for me at that point.
Well, and we've on the show we've had many guests that haven't done the college way, and it's worked out fine. And college is not always in school. Technical school is not always the way to go. So
right.
that's not a bad thing. That's why we ask
Especially
these
nowadays.
questions. Yeah, exactly. There's other ways to go, and that's the thing that to give that information, find out what's going to work for you as an individual, going for what you're trying to do with your career and what you're trying to move forward with.
Yeah.
So were there any steps or any other things that you did to kind of further? I mean, because you didn't finish that program in the school, did you?
Right.
Was
Well,
there
and
other things?
I would admit that really probably set me back, tons. If I would have just finished that, I could have just having that little piece of paper probably would have got me better opportunities sooner. I think. I mean,
Possibly.
honestly.
Right.
But yeah, I just I probably spent another 8 years or so still just kind of bartending and living around the Northwest.
Enjoying
still,
life.
Yeah, just enjoying life and still being into computers, but not really working with them much. But but always maintaining the kind of, there's a lot of stuff happens every month, right, in the computer industry, but you kind of just try to let it filter in so at least you're aware. And then I got a job, oh golly, not too long after that, probably still 90s, at a place in Post Falls called Premium Lighting. It was a wholesale long life lighting warehouse, and got in with the computer guy. I mean, literally got hired there as a nighttime data entry person, just as a second job that I did when I wasn't bartending. I'd go there and do data entry at night. And then I got in with the computer guy that actually ran the computers for the business, and got hired as basically just a warehouse monkey there. But it was a great experience. And then from that, I'm not sure what the next job actually was, but I got more and more into computers as I went.
See, I think nowadays, I mean, a lot of places still want that degree and stuff, but there's a lot of other ways to get that training
Avenues.
without actually doing true schooling.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of companies now are starting to look at that because
Yeah,
they're
and I'm glad to
specializing
see
in
that.
stuff.
I'm glad to
Instead
see
of,
that.
you know,
Yeah, with all your years of experience, you just said that you're glad to see that. Because school, as you know, for yourself as for others, businesses should be aware of that. You agree with that, Rob?
I do, because I'm just thinking of trying to imagine myself coming back up through these kind of
Sure.
times, and I still probably would have no more interest in going to school than I did then, but knowing that you could just put in the work as hard and fast as you want and have the information, and then print out your certificate at the end to say you did it, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I still think colleges need to start reevaluating the way they're doing things, because
Oh,
they
yeah.
make you take all these classes that really don't pertain to what you're trying to do.
Oh,
Just
exactly.
especially at the very first year or two.
Mm.
But if they actually streamline it, then I guess they wouldn't get as much money because they're making you pay per class. And
Oh yeah, the college is all about the money, right? I mean, it's basically just an indoctrination system. It's not learning about learning.
What? Now he tells
Oh
us.
gosh.
Sorry,
Say
we
that
didn't
out
know
loud.
that till you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've crossed that before.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah, it's become a business more than an educational thing.
Right.
Am I up?
sure, yeah.
What's your biggest misconception that you think the general public have to do what you actually do as a programmer or what you do as a career?
What I do as a support person.
Yeah, support. Yeah, thank you.
That's a great question.
And how could it be changed?
Hmm.
Aha, double question. Hey, that's right.
Well, say the first part again then.
What's the biggest misconception the general public has for what you do as a support person?
Probably that it's hard because you have to know computers.
Okay.
But I mean, really, what I do all day is just deal with people mostly, and
Customer service.
Yeah, it's all about customer service for the most part in my role, and you do have to know a lot about about computers in this particular job.
Over the years, you've done the support.
Yeah.
Is it always that you have to know a lot about that whatever program you're supporting?
Well, sure, but like say I worked for a few years out of a call center in Liberty Lake, but I actually work for Autodesk that makes AutoCAD, right? The drawing program.
Yeah.
So, but we were under contract, just did support under contract for them as them.
Right.
But it was the main part that I worked on was not so much the 3D architectural stuff. It was more the consumer products, which is like AutoCAD. It's literally called AutoCAD LT for light, because it's only 2D. You can just draw floor plans and stuff. But it's pretty complicated, and you did have to know all about the software to support it. But it was a finite little program, that you could just learn.
So
I mean, AutoCAD, you could spend 4 years and maybe not learn everything about AutoCAD.
Sure.
But this little LT program, you could learn it and become proficient at drawing with it, and then the customers would call and have trouble.
On certain things.
It was a finite universe, so to speak.
Okay.
The program that I work on now is really just a front end for either a Microsoft SQL or an Oracle database, and it's infinitely customizable and adaptable to the customer's not only work environment, but what they're keeping track of as assets and what they're repairing as assets and what their how their workflow happens in their shops, right? And it's all different wherever you go in the country, but they all use our software because it's
Wow.
infinitely configurable. So there's people that have worked for AssetWorks for 20 years that probably don't know everything that AssetWorks Fleet Focus does.
Okay.
Right? So
Wow.
it's a different environment because I can't know everything, and I just go into it every day knowing that I'm going to get 90% of stuff that I have no idea what it is.
So how do you figure it out from there? You go you obviously have done it enough now. You've dealt with it where you have an idea what you got to go find it.
Well, in the environment, of course, they give you some tools and info, right?
Okay.
But we don't have any scripts or anything like that. No, you just get better at troubleshooting. You know, general troubleshooting is the same whether it's a broken toaster or a
Okay.
computer, right? I mean,
Okay.
you know, I mean, is it plugged in? Is it,
Right,
will
right.
it turn on? I mean, yeah. So that kind of thing you become better at doing, and then you get really good at fielding. I mean, the hardest part probably is just listening to what the customer tells you and then trying to figure out what it is the heck they really meant by that.
Right. I understand that.
And then once you get through that,
Been there, done that when customer
yeah,
service.
once you get through that, then the rest of it's just finding the info that you need to get them what they need.
Right.
So what's a typical day like for you? Your task, hours, all that type of stuff.
Well, it's a pretty typical 8 hour. It's a good company. You don't have to work really much overtime. There is an on-call shift that most people have to work on a rotating basis, and you do get paid extra for that, which is because we do offer 24/7 support for literally production down things for these, companies, because most of them are federally, tied up or something.
Federal government.
But those are just literally like production down things that might happen at night or in the early morning or whatever. That's because we staff from 5 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And we're currently doing it with, I think, 8 or 10 people. So we have 1 or 2 people that start at 5 a.m. and work till 1 or 2, and then we have everybody starts at 5:30, 6, 6:30, 7, clear up to 8:30. Right now I've had to switch to the late shift, so I work 8:30 to 5:30, and I'm the last guy after, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, I can't remember. But with COVID and everything, it's really turned, a lot. It was already heading for more email support because customers have gotten comfortable with the fact that they can just blindly send an email and somebody will respond.
Mm.
And they don't have to call 5 minutes later and ask if you got the email, But it's really gone more towards email with COVID and everything, and it's starting to ramp back up, but luckily they're hiring to try to stay with it, so.
So just cover, because what you support, and you've done support for years. Money wise, income wise, you don't have to give specifics. Benefits, 401, healthcare, all that.
Yeah, well, most of these kind of companies that where you do even low level support will have all the standard
Basic
benefits.
Like I said, you've been doing this for a while, so in case somebody wants to get into the sport, it's all there for them in case.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it is whatever the company is.
Sure.
But most of them, have all that,
Okay.
all the benefits, and
Sweet.
there was like another part of that question.
No, that was it.
Okay.
That was perfect. If there is, how can you approve it, or how many jobs / careers have you had throughout your life? You don't have to answer that one. That's going to take forever with you.
Well, no, but I mean, it's really just. I mean, I guess the computery thing is really just the only career
That you
that I really pursued. I mean, I've had other jobs.
jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs and careers are two different things.
Yeah.
So your
So
career's
yeah,
always been. The
I've had a
computer
couple other jobs.
thing. Yeah,
but,
to pay the bills. So
And it does. I mean, I do. This is a great company. I think that I work for. I
how
mean,
long you been with them again?
6 years now.
Okay, yeah, you would know by now.
And you know, there's been some heartburn about the whole remote. I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here. Or, I shouldn't even. Are you going to edit? You're editing this, right?
If you want to be,
Because I don't know if I'm supposed to mention
I
the
don't know.
name of the company.
you don't, you can or not. You don't have to.
Yeah, no.
You don't
That'd
have
be
to.
fine.
You haven't. I don't think you.
I'll ask. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you said the name of the company yet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you have.
I don't think it did.
No, you've been very good because we have guests on here. All the guests. We've
Yeah.
had people that worked for corporates.
Oh, right. Because
And
like a lot of our, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No.
some of our, not a lot, but some of our customers are like, you know, Sandia National Labs and things where our normal process is to WebEx into a guy's computer and just say, oh, you know, point to it for
Right,
him,
right.
point to it on the screen, say, this is what you need to do. And those guys are like, nah, yeah, you're not coming in here. I mean,
Right.
no, there's no interaction. So what can you tell me about how to fix this? Because you're not going to interact with me electronically.
Right,
Like,
right.
okay,
I've had
that's a different ballgame.
somehow I've dealt with that. Whereas I can't remember where that was. A business or job that I had where I actually had support get into what I was doing to help me move forward and get out of whatever I'd gotten into.
I've had that a few times.
And I can't remember where that was.
Sometimes it can really throw you off because
Oh, sure.
the one guy,
Oh,
he was helping me set up a remote desktop on my computer, and he's like doing some stuff, and then all of a sudden I see the cursor just like doing this, and I'm like,
What's that mean? Yeah.
what's he doing? And then all of a sudden he'd type, you know, down in the little message board part, and he's like, fill this out. I'm like, oh, okay. Where he's circling, okay, click, 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 you know, and then he goes back to doing stuff, and all of a sudden
Right.
he's circling, you know, I'm like, okay, it's time for me to do something again.
Yeah, well, and the tool this WebEx tool that we use is very good because you're on the phone with them, you know, at the same time, and then you basically get them. You send them an email, and they just follow the instructions, and all of a sudden you're each looking at each other's computer, and then you ask him if you can control his for a second, and you just show him what you need.
Right.
He clicks and takes back control and does it, and it's over. Hopefully.
right. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So I'm going to interject before we get to the. Well, this is one of the things. One of the last questions that we have. We're almost done, Rob. That's quick and easy. That's how easy, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Just like sitting down and bullshit with me any other time.
Right.
And we've known each other. So you play guitar,
Oh yeah.
and see the next question is, what did you want to be when you as a kid? Did you want to be a cop, a cowboy, an astronaut? But I know one of your passions has always been music and playing guitar.
Yeah.
And so, what are you doing musically these days?
Excuse me.
Because
Just learning still, but really getting back into it after not even hardly listening to music for a lot of years, several years, just being busy with life and
that happens, right?
yeah.
I just started playing
I
again.
miss it.
I just started playing again. I told you.
Oh, good.
Filling in on the weekend. I just like this last week. I
Super
just
fun.
joined.
Well, actually, oddly enough, Saturday night I went down to Bolo's and listened to Mike Licati play.
I've had Mike on the show.
Yeah, he said he talked to you the
Oh,
same
yeah.
day. But I hadn't seen him. I mean, he literally did not remember me at all.
Really?
Right. I
Yeah.
walked right up to him on the dance because he was waiting for
Okay.
Jim to play. You know, he's just standing there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Mike, so good to see you again. He's like, just blank. Just
Right.
blank.
That's
It's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, and then later he's standing at the bar. I went up to him. I go, you really don't remember me, do you? And he's like, yeah. No. I'm like, okay. Then we talked, and he's like,
Kind of clued in a little bit.
then he totally remembered.
Well, his
then,
wife cuts
but-
my hair.
Yeah.
She just cut my hair last week. So,
Right on.
yeah, I see.
My wife cuts my hair.
Yeah, that's all right. My woman doesn't cut my hair. So,
It's all right.
well, yeah, I haven't played for a couple of years, and I don't know if the regular band will ever play again, just because we've done everything.
The Plastic Saints or
Plastic
the
Saints.
okay.
Just because
I saw that. What is he's?
Brandon's always playing.
Brandon
He's
still
with
plays
me.
Buffalo Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw him do something last fall. I had Brandon.
I
on
think
the show.
recently they were here, some like
Yeah,
doing
probably.
a Big Dippa or something.
Yeah, probably. So I just don't know what'll bring us out. It's not money.
Nah.
It'd be a special gig.
Well, you know what? I was talking to Jim, right,
Yeah.
Mike's guitar player, and you know he's ready to retire. I mean, what I didn't even realize that he pointed out was that all these years he's also been in the Cronkites.
Yeah,
Right?
he's been
Like,
filling for.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he's ready to get out of it. Like, you know, it's
I
so
brought him
funny.
back into the situation, music, years ago.
That's funny. But I was saying, you know, it's so funny talking to you and Mike both. You know, he's about the same place. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't care if he plays anymore.
Yeah.
He just, you know, just doing it. And I'm like, I've always wanted to do it. And I'm just to the point where I finally just let the Lord tell me that I can do it. I've spent my whole life convincing myself that I didn't have the talent to do it. And I finally just let the Lord tell me that you can do it. All you got to do is
go out and do it.
do it.
Yep.
Practice and
Exactly.
do it. I mean,
Exactly.
So one of my brothers has a band, and he's got a couple bands really. So one of them, they're like, there's no real set, no real. I mean, they basically just kind of smash on the drums, and he's like, you need to come play sometime. And I'm like, I'm nowhere good enough to actually do it. And he goes, it don't matter. He goes, we're smashing on things so hard and fast that no one knows if you're actually playing a song or not. You know, half the time we're just screaming and the guitar's just. He goes, but
That
people
never
love it.
yeah. That's what was the whole 70s and 80s, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, kind of do.
just kind of turn it up and go,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to, you know, hopefully getting together, because I have so many friends
Yes, you
that
do. You
play
know a few.
music and that I need to reconnect with. You know, I was talking with Mike about Phil Berry.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had him on the show, but
I have not.
I've lost touch with him, but he's right there in Coeur d'Alene. He's still doing good, and the wife keeps track of him on Facebook, but I don't participate in Facebook personally. So,
Yeah.
but I want to reconnect with him definitely.
There you go. Well, back to the computer thing. Anything else? Any advice you'd like to give to
People wanting to work in the industry?
Yeah, in this computer or anything along those lines, or any other
yeah.
advice you might be able to.
Well,
Besides, just do it.
That's a deep well. Yeah.
Make it happen.
But I mean, basically, I mean, if you are interested in computers, you know, especially now throughout this whole pandemic deal, I mean, a lot of people have left their jobs, or jobs have changed, or companies have realized they just need a bunch of people to work for them, and it doesn't matter if they're at home or not.
Yeah.
All that. So if you're interested in it, just go out there and look. There's tons of stuff online. I get recruiters offer me jobs all the time.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
if you put yourself out there, you'll do the same. And you know, this particular company isn't very easy to get hired with, but if you know your stuff and present yourself well, it's a great, you know, they start you out at you know, a living wage, and they treat you right. I mean, they will treat you right. It's the same corporate stuff you got to deal with every company, but the local people will try to treat you right, and they let the local people manage their people.
That's important. That doesn't happen in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So with some of the other companies you worked for in the past, is there more of like a entry level position that they, you know, someone could get in and then start learning the ropes?
Well, yeah. I mean, any role that they have open that starts with customer service, really, because that usually involves, like, even for a software company, it may involve just literally taking phone calls from people that are asking about the program, or where do they get it, or how do they install, you know, I mean,
Just basic information.
just basic information. And sometimes they'll have a role just for that, you know, and you could get in with, you know, in the door that way. But it's usually called customer support or customer analyst or technical support analyst. You know, that can lead to a lot of different things, but, you know, searching for those terms will definitely find jobs that are like this.
There you go. There you go.
You got anything else?
I do not. Rob, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
I've been after you for months now.
I know. I you know.
And we will have you back. I'd like to have you back on. What we started doing is update interviews where we have former guests come back, because we've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Right.
And so we'll get you back again, because we'd like to update our viewers, our listeners,
Sure.
what's going on with life, and yeah, we're almost at our 100th episode.
Unlike Jen Psaki, you're going to circle back.
That's sweet. Jim, what? Lost me on that one.
The former White House press secretary.
I don't politics, and I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't follow.
Your viewers will laugh there.
Okay, good. Because I have no. Okay, Ryan, take it away.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to Career Paths by Infonet. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. It's your life.
Mr. Bradbury, make it happen. Till next time. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
That was easy.
Fun.
See, it's all about you.
Ashes to ashes.
Okay.
Take 24. La 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 la.
Career Path.